Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you to every person who's been a part of this process to undo the unnecessary gap in safety for 4 of my high schools. And thank you for working to repair the risk that they were at for no good reason. This bill was done the original version was done without proper input from the people who actually knew what they were doing. And God bless the Education Committee, but there were other voices not heard, and it resulted in more harm than I think the people that were bringing this forward realized. And I understand why they thought they were doing a good thing, Mr. President. They're simply afraid of the police. And there are sometimes I understand that. But, Mr. President, in Minnesota schools, there was no reason to be afraid of the police. There was actually every reason to wish they would be present if the school chose to have it there, if the district chose to have that kind of security present. And so I'm glad to be a part of the process to help remediate some of the harm that actually happened. And so why am I coming out like this, Mr. President, in a day of resolution and going forward? I ran into one of my rank-and-file law enforcement friends just yesterday, and he was a SRO, a school resource officer, a policeman in a school, and had several years of that before he ascended to the rank of captain. And he is just the most amazing human being. And if he would tell stories about individuals that he kept on track, relationships he built, and what benefits he provided to the interaction between law enforcement and the youth of my area, it would be a remarkable story. He related that he, on I think 2 occasions over his years of service, had to do anything resembling any kind of force, and never the prone restraints that people think that they just wake up in the morning trying to put people into that. And so I'm glad it's remedied. So, Mr. President, on the behalf of the individuals who are fearful of the police, I get it. I've talked to a bunch of them, and there's things that happen in this society of ours that are fearful. But this is not George Floyd. There were not examples of that even brought forward ever in schools. And so, is police work stressful? Is it hard on the family? Do they experience a lot of PTSD? Do some of them commit suicide? Mr. President, my son, who's a deputy, has come upon 5 individuals where he was the first officer finding a dead person. And that's the kind of individuals they have, and they are largely fearless. And they put themselves at risk every day to protect us. And for the cities and the areas who are wishing they had less police, they're going to wish they had the right number of police. When you call 911, you hope someone comes. But, Mr. President, some of the discouragement that this process has brought to some of these rank-and-file officers, even though the leaders agreed and we have to fix it and this is a compromise, and I fully support it. I support the way it was. I support the agreement. I support getting us back on track. But they are disappointed. They're disappointed that they were not trusted when they were doing grade A work. And the time was, Mr. President, when a law enforcement opening happened, there would be multiple applications for that job. In the Anoka Sheriff's Department, they had 15 openings, and they received 9 applications, and only 6 were even worth considering. And so if people are fearful of having police officers present and the finest of the finest there, when you reduce the pool, it actually causes an unintended consequence with not enough, and not the ability to have the individuals coming who look at this as an honor and as a gift to their community. And so I fully appreciate the fear wrongly placed here, Mr. President, and I hope that as we move this bill forward, that the officers who put their life on the line every day, including my son, will feel the appreciation of a grateful community, and that with the reporting that's going to go forward, that the individuals who are nervous about their behavior will realize there was nothing to see here, Mr. President. So members, I urge that we all vote green on this bill. And let's get these officers back in my schools and in all the schools where they need to be to protect our students in an ever-increasing, violent and dangerous world. Thank you, Mr. President.